Ernest Miller Hemingway. Ernest was born on July 21st, 1899 in Oak Park, Illinois. He died on July 2nd, 1961 in Ketchum, Idaho. Ernest was an American novelist, short story writer, journalist, and sportsman. His economical and understated style, which he termed the iceberg theory, had a strong influence on the 20th century fiction, while his adventurous lifestyle and his public image brought him admiration from later generations. Ernest Hemingway.
Otto Adolf Eichmann was a German-Austrian and one of the major organizers of the Holocaust during World War II. He was captured by Mossad agents in Argentina and found guilty of war crimes. He was later executed by hanging in 1962.
Stranger in a Strange Land is a 1961 science fiction novel by American author Robert A. Heinlein. It tells the story of Valentine Michael Smith, a human who comes to Earth in early adulthood after being born on the planet Mars and raised by Martians, and explores his interactions with the eventual transformation of Terran culture. Bob Dylan is an American singer-songwriter, author, and visual artist, often regarded as one of the greatest songwriters of all time. Dylan has been a major figure in pop culture during the career spanning 60 years. Much of his most celebrated work dates from the 1960s when songs such as Blowin' in the Wind and The Times Are A-Changin' became anthems for civil rights and anti-war movements. His lyrics during this period incorporated a range of political, social, physiological, and literary influences, defying pop culture and conventions and appealing to the burgeoning counterculture.
Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Hey.
The Berlin Wall was a guarded concrete barrier that was constructed on August 13, 1961, and was taken down in 1989, November 9th. It was put up to divide East and West Berlin. The Bay of Pigs invasion was a CIA-financed and trained group of Cuban refugees who landed in Cuba in an attempt to topple the communist government ran by Fidel Castro. The attack was an utter failure when Cuban planes strafed the invaders, sank 2 escort ships, and destroyed the exiles' air support.
Here you go, soldier. Destroy the communists and Fidel Castro.
Yes, sir.
We are now in Cuba for the Bay and Pigs invasion.
Lawrence of Arabia is a 1962 British epic historical drama film based on the life of T.E. Lawrence and his 1926 book, 7 Pillars of Wonder. It was directed by David Lean and produced by Sam Spiegel through his British company Horizon Pictures and distributed by Columbia Pictures.
Beatlemania was the fanaticism surrounding the English rock band The Beatles in the 1960s. The Old Miss Ride of 1962, or the Battle of Oxford, was an incident of mob violence by proponents of racial segregation beginning the night of September 30th, 1962.
And segregation! And segregation! And segregation! And segregation!
One.
John Herschel Glenn Jr. was a United States Marine Corps aviator, engineer, astronaut, businessman, and politician. He was the 3rd American in space and the 1st American to orbit the Earth, circling it 3 times in 1962.
My name is John Glenn, and we're about to orbit the Earth. Oh, we're in orbit. We got some asteroids. Asteroids inbound.
Charles L. Liston, who was a dominant contender in his time in 1962 in boxing, knocked out Floyd Patterson in the first round to become the world heavyweight champion. Round one. All right, gentlemen, we don't know the rules in the locker room. Touch gloves and let's begin this thing. Fight! And we have our champion. Woo! And the new heavyweight champion, Sonny Liston.
Pope Paul VII was the head of the sovereign of the Vatican City state from the 21st of June, 1963 to his death in 1978. He was the first pope to travel to Israel before the Vatican officially recognized the state, and the first pope to visit 6 continents during his 15-year papacy.
On June 5, 1963, British Secretary of War John Profumo resigns his post following revelations that he had lied to the House of Commons about his sexual affair with Christine Keeler, an alleged prostitute.
Go.
How much for the night?
It'll be 41, baby. Right this way, baby.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy, often referred to as JFK, was an American politician who served as 35th President of the United States from 1961 until his assassination near the end of his 3rd year in office. He was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, at the age of 46 in Dallas, Texas. Cause of death was a fatal gunshot wound, and he is now buried in an Arlington National Cemetery.
The most important events that happened during our time period were JFK's assassination, John Glenn, Malcolm X, and the Bay of Pigs invasion.
During 1961 through 1963, it would be a struggle to live in due to the fact of our battle against communism, the civil rights movement, and our president, JFK, being assassinated. It would also be a good time to live in because of the music, such as Bob Dylan and the Beatles.